What's going on, guys? I know it's been a hot minute since I've uploaded to YouTube, but what better way to start getting more into it than to do some more mods on Victoria. So right now I'm actually running a triple threat modified airbox. I'll get a little bit more into that later, but just to summarize it, I cut holes in the side of my airbox and put two new K&N AIR filters in it, and I ran that all last year. Made really good power, but I'd probably be 190 to 195 ish. But I'm just looking for a little bit more power, so I did what every big boy does. Got his big boy britches on, and I ordered an entree. Well, I hope you're hungry, Victoria. I've got the main course here, and it smells like performance. So let me just set this down real quick so I can show you guys what I did. So this here is a Monster Big Air kit. You are essentially ripping your entire VMAX airbox out, and on top of your throttle bodies you are going to be putting velocity stacks. These are CNC'd aluminum made by Guru Gear, and they run you about $250. I believe they are out of stock right now, but on top of that, you will be capping it with an HA 3094 K&N air filter. And from all the dyno sheets that I've seen online, you're going to be right around 200 horsepower to the wheel running this setup if you get the Guru Gear tune, and that's granted you have a 4-to-1 performance exhaust like I do. But anyway, let's go ahead and tear into this thing, and I'll get the camera closer and kind of show you like underneath here, and I'll kind of do like a step-by-step of like how I would go about doing this. This is my first time doing the Monster Big Air, but yeah, we're gonna tackle it together. Originally, you're gonna start off by taking off the display cover. You're gonna take off the tank cover. I've already unplugged the ECU and the battery. I already sent the ECU out to Tim Nash. We got it back from Guru Gear, and it's ready to go with the tune in it. Your next step is to take off your scoops. I'm gonna go ahead and set them down there because we don't need them that out of the way. We're just gonna go ahead and pull them down and rest them on my crash pegs. And there, you're gonna pop your display up. Next thing we need to do is take off the airbox cap. Alright, so you should have 8 screws on top for this, the funnel. It funnels the air into the stock air filter. This here is a triple threat modified airbox. The stock air filter would be here. I've replaced it with the K&N. We've got a little bracket to hold that in place. Pop that out. I've siliconed your smaller air filters on the side for the triple threat. That just shows you what the triple threat modified airbox is. So we're going to continue to take apart this airbox so we can get to the throttle bodies. Alright, so you're going to remove the 10 screws around the top of the airbox, and then you're also going to want to take off the 2 screws that hold the ignition cover. This is the top of your airbox. This is the part that you would cut out the side for the triple threat. As you can see, I've cut the sides. I put the K&N air filters in there. I siliconed around there to hold them in nice and sealed. But we're not going to need this anymore. We're going to set that off to the side for now. We might revisit that later. These are your intake stacks. These raise and lower depending on how much throttle you're giving it. So each one of these lifters have 2 bolts. They're going to be kind of tight because they're torqued down. Now that you've gotten all the bolts loosened up on these lifters, you can just gently lift up on the whole airbox. Now that you've got your lower half of their airbox taken off, we can set that aside because we won't be needing that anymore. And now you've got all of your throttle bodies exposed, as well as your crankcase breather hose. And yeah, we can get started on getting the velocity stacks put in. So this here is your throttle body assembly on your VMAX. You've got your intakes down in there, and here's your crankcase breather hose. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take some parts off of the lower airbox and then install them onto the velocity stacks before putting them in. Alright, so here's your airbox, right? Underneath your airbox, you've got these O-rings. You're going to pull out all of those O-rings and save those. Careful not to tear them. Just gonna pop all 4 of those out. We're gonna need to get to these bolts and take those out, and I'll show you how to do that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna just lift up on the lifters like that, and you can pull these guys out. Yep. And that is what the bottom of your airbox should look like when you're all done. You've got your lower lifters taken out and your O-rings all removed. We can go ahead and either try selling this or just throw it away completely. All right, now that you got your lower stack here, we need to remove these bolts. So I like to take a pick and you just pull back on this tab enough for the bolt to slide out like that. And we're doing the same on this side. Like that. And now we've got our bolts. We're going to do that 3 more times. All right, now that we have our velocity stack, we're going to take our stock O-ring that we got from the bottom of our airbox, and we're going to press it in to the bottom of the velocity stack. Just like that. We'll go ahead and set that there for now. We're going to do that 3 more times. All right, so now that we've got the original O-rings from the bottom of the airbox on these velocity stacks, we've set them down, lined them up on the bolt holes, and we just got to drop our bolts in and torque them down to 8.9 foot-pounds. And then we can go ahead and install the filters. We've got all the bolts in. Now we just got to torque them down to 8.7 foot-pounds. All the bolts are torqued down to the proper spec. The HA3094 K&N air filters are going to be put on next. So I'm going to go ahead and start closest to the ignition and work my way back. I'm going to go ahead and pop that air filter on. Grab a flathead screwdriver and I rotate this so it's easy to get to. I'm going to go ahead and snug her up. Flip the clamp around so it's a little easier to get to with the screwdriver. Alright, now we can, here's the third one. Go ahead and put that on. And for the 4th and final one, we'll go ahead and flip this clamp like we did on the other one. We'll go ahead and start tightening her up. And there you have it, folks. The Monster Big Air kit is now installed. I am waiting on one more K&N air filter for the crankcase vent, but regardless, she's pretty much ready to get put back together. Could put the battery back in, can plug the ECU back in. She'd realistically be ready to start here in 5 minutes. But anyway, I'm probably going to go ahead and pull her off of the lift. I've got another bike that I need to tear into and work on the rest of this week, so stay tuned for that. If you liked what you saw, throw a like. If you see anything, if you got any questions, leave a comment. Subscribe to see more of Victoria's upgrades and other bikes on my channel. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.